Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really easy rope ladder for your kids' tree fort. There's just a few things you're going to need. You're going to need some 2x4s to make the rungs of the ladder. You're going to need some 1/2 inch yellow poly rope. You're going to need a 1/2 inch or 7/16 wood spade bit. And I'll explain that to you in a minute which of these you're going to use. You're going to need some 1.5" deck screws, a Robertson bit to put the deck screws in, and you're going to need some way to heat the end of the rope to melt it slightly. So I've got this blowtorch, and you can use a match, you can use a lighter, whatever you have, and you're going to need a drill. So the first thing we want to do is you want to get a scrap piece of wood and you want to drill some test holes in it, and we're going to see which bit is the best for the poly rope that you purchased. Okay, so what I did was I drilled a hole into my piece of scrap wood here, and I used the 7/16 to drill a 7/16 hole right there, and I drilled a 1/2 inch hole there. When you're cutting poly rope, just find yourself an old knife or a utility knife like I have and heat it up with the blowtorch and cut right through it, and it melts the ends and it doesn't allow it to fray. Next thing you want to do is take your poly rope and clamp it down. You can put it in a vise or whatever you have. We're going to heat up the end of the poly rope to soften it. And then we're going to take the cloth and quickly run it over it. And that way it tapers the end of the poly rope. Then you get your scrap piece of wood with the 2 holes that you've drilled into it and see which one fits the best. In my case, the 7/16 works really well with my 1/2 inch poly rope, so that's the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to be using the 7/16 to drill all of the holes. So you just want to drill them straight through and get them as level as you possibly can and straight. Now I want you to mark the center of each hole onto the front of the 2x4. And make a line. So what I've done is I've attached this piece of wood with some clamps here to represent the tree fort. And what you want to do is you want to put your 2 7/16 inch holes in the tree fort. Then take your rope, tie a knot in the end. You may want to double knot it just in case, just for safety's sake. And feed it through the hole. And pull it through and give it a good pull so that knot really sets itself in. Next, you want to take your rungs that you've got the lines marked on. You want to face the lines towards the rear, and you want to feed your poly rope into the holes. Now just take your level and level. Oh, look at that! I've got it pretty well perfect. And once it's level, next just get your deck screws and flip it over and put a screw right through the center. And then take another screw and put it above it. And another one below it. So there's a few things going on here when we put these screws in. First thing is, once we put that screw in the hole, that first screw, this rope has got such a nice resistance fit in the hole that when you put the screw through the center of it, the rope is actually expanding in the hole, and the hole is choking the rope and it's holding it. So we've got that in 3 spots, which is very strong. Next thing is, because the stranding in the rope goes the length of the rope, the screw is actually going through the strands. It's not actually damaging any. So the rope is still keeping its integrity that way. And like I say, because there's 3 of them, when we go to try to pull this out of the hole, it's not moving at all. There's a a super good attachment right to the 2x4. And you can see after you have your first one in, if you get right up on top of it, you can push down on that and it doesn't move a bit. It's a very strong design. So now you just want to add the rest of your rungs, distance them apart to whatever distance you'd like them to be, and level them out and put all your screws in, and that'll be it. Okay, so you've got all your rungs attached and you've got them screwed on, and now you want to attach it to the ground. So in this example, of course, I've only got one rung put in this, but let's pretend this is 6 feet long. So in our tree fort, it was up 6 feet, so we slanted the ladder out approximately 1.5 feet at the ground. That made it easier for the kids to climb up it. So how do you attach it to the ground? Well, all I did was I put a knot in each of the ropes. I got myself some steel rod. This is about 1/2 inch steel rod. I cut them at about the 2 foot length. I took it to someone with a torch and I had them put a little J hook in the end of it, one that would just go around this rope. And all you do is then locate the rope on the ground and pound the stake right down into the ground about 2 feet. And once the J hook gets around the rope, it holds it to the ground nice and securely, and it doesn't move a bit. And remember, with any project that you're doing for your kids, make sure it stays safe. So check it on a regular basis to make sure all the attachments are in good condition and that nothing is coming apart. Okay, so there's a great way to make a ladder for your tree fort. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get right back to you. Until then, we'll see you next time.